Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Interfaith Committee's Tree of Faith program. Today, we are very blessed to have Joseph Grossman. If you have been to the Shalom Space programs, you might have heard Joseph before, but his story is so riveting and so interesting, we thought he should share it with others. So without further ado, please turn off your cell phones. So without further anything, I'd like you all to meet Joseph Grossman.
Hello, thank you. Well, to be honest, I never prepare. I don't prepare whatever comes up, and I really believe, well, call it faith, really believe what's meant to be heard or any messages, that's what happens. I don't prepare. So what is faith? What is faith? Everybody hears me well? No? I'll have that been made louder. So to me, what is faith? I don't know. Well, faith changed my life. The idea of freedom, first of all, of letting go. It's not about me. And if I look back, things have come together. And so I will start by sharing just a visual of where I come from, who I am. So I was a twin. I had a twin brother. We were the oldest to a family of 14. And during my life and along my life, first of all, my father was really in love with my twin brother. He was the oldest. And so I was the second, and I was always a shadow, always. And he used to say, "Why don't you pray like Charles? Why don't you learn like him?" And I used to say, "He's just playing a game. I'm real, you know," but he would never see it. So I had my mother on my side and my father on his side. So I really had with my mother codependency. Maybe we'll get to that. Until she passed, she was young, relatively young, 54, and she had cancer. And so did I. I'm a cancer survivor this year. And so that's a story for itself. So I was born in London. We had a little family at the time. I think we had 7 or 8 children. And then we moved to Belgium. So English to me is my 6th language. We moved to Belgium. And from there, I went through studies. I was in Israel for a little while, but then I ended up in college in, we call it, it's in near Manchester. It's Gateshead. It's all the way up north in England. And so I was there for also like, I don't know, I finished off there for 7, 8 months, 9 months. And then my twin brother died. He was the 4th kid in the family that died. I had one brother that died in my hands. I was 7.5 years old, still in London. And it was on a Friday night, and I remember my father ran to the hospital. So there was a hospital not far from us called the Beerster. Do you hear me in the back? Do you hear me? Okay. So there was a hospital down the road on Lordship Road called the Beerster, and it was a hospital only for birthing hospital. And my father, I woke up my father, I said, "Jacob, he doesn't look right. Something is off." And so I pick him up, I take him to my father's bed. And my father ran to that hospital. And then he comes back and he says, "Oh, why didn't you wake me up before you went to drink the water?" Because I went to drink the water. I look at him. I went to drink water in the middle of the night. I had a bad dream. And then I came back and so I lived all my life that I killed this kid. And I had that guilt forever and ever. So I have 3 kids that are named after 4 of my brothers. And so my twin brother, he was the biggest bang. And 2 weeks before we turned 20, he had a car accident. He was in Israel. I was in England, as I said. And he had a car accident and he died. And for the first time in my life, I got Joseph. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't happy about it. I really lost half of me, but I got Joseph. That was the first time I got the spotlight of just being me. And I started to shine within me. And then my father decided that he's going to bring me to America to some special girl. And all he wanted is to bring happiness into the family. Has nothing to do with me, Joseph. And I really didn't want to come to America at all. And I wasn't ready. I just barely 3 months earlier lost my twin brother. And my father just wants to get me married, shipped off, and bring happiness into his family. So there I was. At the time, I thought I had no choice. Came to America. My parents saw the girl. And then my in-laws came to see me. And the following night, I met with the girl. And we spoke for maybe 15 minutes. And then her grandmother comes in. No? What do you say? Huh? And then my father walks in. No? So I say, okay, if she's okay, then I'm okay. I had no idea what I'm going into. I went through I was a rape victim. I went through so much in my life, so much. And so I got married. 3 months later, I came back to America, and I haven't spoken to her in these 3 months at all. It wasn't the right thing to do at the time. And I got married. We got married, and we were married for 18 and a half years. I had 7 kids. I would never ever choose in these 18 and a half years to be in her space a single day. It was just the right thing to do. We built a family, we set up, and then they have a family, and so on. So I was just like walking the lines that I was told. This is the line, you don't cross the double line, and that's the way it is. I didn't even think of whether I do understand it. What is marriage? Never even went there. But after I got married, I had an issue because the rape story came up, and I couldn't have relationships with my wife, ever. And I was married for 18 and a half years, and every single night, I went to the bathroom, put on my pajamas, came into my bedroom. Every single night. I couldn't open up. And to this very day, I haven't been to a beach, to a swimming pool, never ever go to a place where I would feel that there could be a male undressed. I'm not talking even with the swimming trunks. I just stay away to this very day. So I'm like in my little prison here. But it's another thing that I'm going through in life. I mean, that's me. It's part of me. And it's okay. I never felt different. I didn't feel odd. I didn't feel that I'm like in a painful space. I did therapy. I went through therapy, but it was my therapy, just for me to understand me. And I've seen my growth through therapy, that now I have a better job, and then I became a manager. So I've seen my growth through regular life. And I remember my therapist, after years, she asked me, so when will I see your wife? I said, this is not about her. It's about me. And the stronger I will be, she will come along. It's about me. And I really felt that that's what I needed. And so along the journey, my father always kept on calling me by my twin brother's name. He wouldn't give up. And then I brought them here to America from Belgium. I brought them here to America. In Belgium, we had more kids. Obviously, we left London with 7 or 8 kids. And so I had, as I said, 4 brothers in my life that passed. Here I am, a young Mali Jolly boy, barely speaking English. My father makes me crazy. Joe, you didn't buy a property yet. You don't have your own house. You're in America for a year and a half. So it was the right thing to do. I bought a house. And he wouldn't help me financially. But after I moved in and put in a new kitchen, then he wired me $27,000. Well, we're talking now 90, okay, 89, 90, 89, 1989. And obviously, at the time, I don't know if anyone remembers, the interest rate was like 9% or somewhere there. It really cost me a mint, $136,000 mortgage, cost me $1,055 at the time. It was, even today with the high rates, we don't even get it. So I couldn't hold on. It was tough for me. It was very tough, and I barely made $600 a week. So that's just my journey. And then I was a lucky boy, and I went into the food business, and I really made it. I became an importer of most kosher foods. There was no store in the United States that had an interest in kosher food that did not get my products. Every nursing home, I was a big boy, a player, and I was lucky. I just made it. It just happened. Now, I never had the feelings towards money. My father was very stingy, so I never had that feeling. I gave it all away. And through therapy, so I gave away, I would say, approximately $250,000 for the poor, for if the synagogue would ask, for my rabbi. I was just like, to me, it was like, snow money. It wasn't, it's just So I really came home with hundreds of thousands of dollars. In those days, even the food stamps was cash. Whoever remembers, everything was paper. So I had a lot of paper. And to me, really, it was just paper. I had no value. It's not that I bought another property. I was just in that box, and I was just a lucky boy. And then 18 and a half years married, and my baby got sick. My little baby, he was 17 months old. I'm sharing my low to get to where I am today. So because the deeper I was, the stronger my faith today, the more gifts and value I get through faith. So, I want to anchor the idea of how deep it went. So here I am, my 17-month-old baby, he got cancer. That very day, I had a meeting in Connecticut with some supermarket company. They only have a couple of them in New York, but it's a maze. That supermarket, I forgot the name. It's a store that you come in and it's a maze. You can only go out at the cash register. I forgot the name. It's near the bridge, near the Yonkers. There's a store there. So that day I had a meeting in Connecticut of making private label products for them. So I had like ice cream. I was in the frozen food business. So I wanted to make ice cream with their name. I'll find it soon. So that was the day. And that morning, my baby was on my hands. He was 17 months old. I gave him breakfast. I fed him. And then I put him down. Go ahead and run. He was walking at the time. And he wouldn't stand on his legs. He wouldn't stand on his feet. So I put him down and he starts crawling. And I say to my wife, something is off. This is real. Something is off. Take him straight to the hospital. Don't even go to the doctor. Just go straight to Westchester Hospital. I'll do my meeting. It was supposed to be 1 o'clock. I said, I'm going down now, like 10 o'clock. I'll be there by 11. I'll meet you in the hospital. In those days, we didn't have, I don't know, maybe I did have a cell phone. I was the big shot. I had the first little cell phone that came out, the Motorola, if anybody remembers. It cost me $1,000 a month, but I had a phone. So here I am. I come back to Westchester and I come into this room and I see a doctor and my in-laws, my wife, holding the baby on her lap, and they're crying. Now, I have no idea what's going on here. And they were crying and crying. And the doctor says, listen, I want you to know that your son has cancer. And this is after my mother had cancer. I forgot to share that. My mother had cancer. I'll give you a powerful, powerful phrase or line that my mother, before she passed, what she told me also about faith. I think I shared it the previous time, but I'll say it again soon if I get to it. So my mother was 1.5 years. She suffered. She had colon cancer, and so did I. I'm a survivor. I'm grateful. Wow, that's a little piece in faith. I am so grateful that I went through the idea of cancer to value and appreciate life today, that I am cancer-free. I would love to get the message without the so-called suffering of going through cancer and chemo and radiation. I would love to get that message, but I already got it. And I'll get to that. That's my piece of hope that I got through faith, the idea of faith. So here I am with my baby. The doctor says, well, he has cancer. I asked, oh, so what's the next step? He says, well, your son is going to need chemo. We don't know yet if it's the tougher one, leukemia, or it's the easier one. I said, so what do you think? What's the diagnosis? What do we need to do? He says, well, he's definitely going to need like 7 or 8 months chemo. So I said, okay, I heard that you have a cancer unit here for children here in Westchester. Let's hook him up tonight. The doctor says, are you sure? And he says to my in-law, are you sure you never told him about? I said, no. They said, no, they didn't tell me. But I hit reality. I'm a European boy. I don't go into this. Okay, it is what it is. We're going to have to, I said, we're going to have to swim through this river. We've got to get through the 7 months. Let's do it right now. No, we have to ask recommendations and we have to go for a second opinion. So I was lost in the process. My wife ran the show, and we went to Memorial Sloan Kettering, and there I was, as I said, I was a businessman. My business was rolling. And so I was in the hospital for between 19 and 21 hours a day in the hospital. I ran the show. My wife had 6 kids at home, taken care of. She came to visit and then went back. And then one day the table changed. The position changed. My father-in-law, he was very tough on my kids until my wife came back. He was the babysitter. It was very tough on them. And I said, this is not happening in my house. They have no father. They have no mother. So many issues. I take the role of being a father and let her and her family be in the hospital and run that show. Because he was hitting my kids, and it was very tough. And the kids had no father, no mother. And I gave them Jewish CD plays that they should watch on a CD player. Just push time until mommy comes home. And he was against it, obviously for his religious purposes or ideas. And so I said, no. No one is going to hit my kids in my house. This is not happening. And if he has a problem, let him. I will be the father and the mother in this house. So I started and I stayed home, took care of my kids, cooked every day, took care of the laundry. My wife trained me for years, so I already knew it all. So there I am with my kids. Now I'm in a dilemma because my daughter, I have one daughter, 5 boys, a girl, and that baby boy. And so I had a choice, but I chose, even the language changed through faith. At the time, I thought I have no choice. So I chose to sell my business and stay with my kids. So I sold my business pretty well, thankfully so. And that's it. Here I am, taking care of my kids on a daily basis, school, coming back, cooking, cleaning, laundry, spotless. I never had a cleaning lady in my house. That was it's my house. I'll take care of it. So deeper in, one day, so I sent my 3rd son. He was dyslexic, and he was like the ball in the middle, and he was very, let's call it angry, but he was in a very tough spot. He had 2 older ones that hit him, and they made him into a mensch. And then he had 2 younger ones that he made them into a mensch. So, and then he was very in a painful space. He was an emotional kid. Most dyslexic kids, their survival skills are feelings and emotions, and that's how they get us and they survive. So I came up with the idea, I'm going to send him to my sister that lives in Israel at the time. And he's going to be there. First, he's going to go to camp in Switzerland, and then he's going to go back to Israel. And one day he calls me. So the son, my baby, is going through chemo and losing his hair and everything. And he calls me and says, I broke my leg and I want to come home and I want to see the baby and I miss the baby and the baby and the baby. I said, listen, kiddo, I used to do a lot of business with Israel. I imported from Israel a lot of food, many products. And I said, listen, look at the watch, look at your little watch. In 18 hours from now, I'll be standing next to you. I'll take the first flight out. And I told my second son, he was 17 years old, he had a car. I said, take the kids to my in-laws, and I'll be back on Thursday. It was on a Monday. I'll be back on Thursday. In 3 days, I arrived to Israel. My son says to me, Dad, I don't know what happened. They didn't let the kids into the house, and they called the police. So where are the kids now? By my wife's mother. What do you mean they called the police? I don't know what it means. Okay, I'm not worried. I'm there for 3 days. Take care of my boy. Come back home on Thursday. I walked straight into my in-laws' house. The kids were there. I said, okay, kids, pack up. We're going home. And within minutes, 2 police cars show up. And I say, hello? 16 months I had my kids. My wife never, ever looked back, ever. She went to her in-laws for 16 months. Oh, what happened was on Passover, he got high fever, my son, and one of us had to go to the hospital. So I chose that I stay with the kids and she goes to the hospital. And she never came back. Never, ever came back. So I stayed with my kids alone for 16 months. After 16 months, that's when my son, and during the time, my third son went to Israel and I took care of my kids. And then I sent them to my in-laws, fast forward, and here we are. Police officers they don't let me take out my kids. So what do you mean? 16 months. Well, you're going to have to go to court. Now, I'm a simple boy. I could have asked a warrant and this and that. I don't understand I don't know law. I'm a straight shooter. Never once I got up a speeding ticket. Talking like, I don't know, 23 years ago. I'm a straightforward boy. So we got to go to court. I got to take a lawyer. She has a lawyer. And we're deep in, a couple of months into family court. And I realize I'm up to $82,000. And my lawyer says to me, in order to represent you next week, Wednesday, I'm going to need another $10,000 by Friday. And I realized I ain't heading nowhere. It's just, we're just, water, how do you say it? Going around in circles, whatever. So I said, I came into court and I said, Your Honor, I would like to release my lawyer from my case. My lawyer was shocked, and the judge asked, what, you're going to take a new lawyer? I said, no. He goes, are you going to represent yourself? I was really naive, and I said, for what? He said, well, we have to conclude this case. So I said, okay, let's conclude it right now. She wants the kids, give her the kids. And every time I came to court, I came alone with my lawyer. She came with the whole family. And her only issue was one thing, that for the community, she would be the better person. That means for Yiddish, for the Jewish stuff, for the religion, she would be the better parent than me. So I said, okay, give her the kids. And that's it. Days go by. I'm alone. I hang up pictures of my kids. I miss my kids. And I even went through, there's a holiday that we call Sukkot. And we really, it's like we go out and we build an outside shed and we sit there. And there's some remembrance of going out of Egypt, and we were, well, whatever the case is. And we always hang up nice decorations there. My decorations were my kids. The pictures of my kids, this is my decoration. I don't need nothing more. So here we are, months, and I'm alone. And when I gave up my kids, there's nothing anymore in me to fight. I'm done. And I was introduced to some guy comes up to me and he says, my boss has a building, a 23-story building, probably us, we remember those that passed the Brooklyn Bridge, good old days, we used to see the Verizon building. There was a big sign, Verizon. I mean, our times, we all know that. I don't know, this age. So there was a Verizon building, and that building was bought by a Jewish guy, and it had asbestos, the whole building. So he got it for a good deal. And he was fixing up floor by floor. When he got a contract on the floor, that's when he got it out and fixed it. So the manager says to me, Joe, I need someone. It's very tough for me to find. I need to get someone for tinted windows. The new windows, the old windows are going to stay. But the problem is that they have to scratch off the old tint and then put up new tint. And the problem was that it's too small for a big company and too big for a small company, because we're only going floor by floor. And after a big company will come in, shoot it all off and gone. I said, okay, I'll try. He says, you're a good salesman. So I went and I found a company in Staten Island that they make, I don't know, I would say 60, 70, close to 100 cars, tinted windows on a daily basis. It's in Staten Island, corner Armstrong and Amboy. It's called the Car Shop. So I call in and someone picks up and he says, and I told him what I want. He says, well, that's commercial. I have a partner, his name is Paul. He was interested in going into commercial. I'm this close, okay? He was interested in going commercial, so talk with Paul, Mr. DeMarco, Italian guy. And okay, I come up with, it was a Tuesday or a Wednesday, I come up with my blueprints, and we're gonna see how many windows per floor, and we're gonna use that as a demonstration, as an example for all the floors. And I would say an hour into this meeting, it's a long meeting because you had to figure out how many yards of tint and how many workers, and it was a big job to come up. And like an hour in, he says, Mr. Grossman, I would like to take a smoke break. I said, oh, it's a brilliant idea. I smoke too. Where can I smoke? He says, oh, you can smoke here. It was a big room, a big conference room, big table. And he said, you can smoke here. I take out my Marlboro Lights and I smoke. And he goes on the other side of the room and he does a different smoke. Now, I didn't even know how to spell the word drugs. I didn't even know weed. I didn't know nothing. I'm a real simple boy, straightforward. I know family, my synagogue, my prayers, my business, and that's it. And over. Same thing, ritual. So I see him making a different type of smoke. So curiosity, I walk over and I ask him, what type of smoke is this? He says, you won't understand. Did I share that already? I probably shared that, yeah? You won't understand. I said, so, hello? I'm 39 years old. What do you mean I won't understand? He said, no. So I said, well, is this like gets you like out, like high? He says, no, you won't understand. He says, so I said, what type of feeling does it give you? He says, well, it's, imagine you would take like 8 Tylenols in a shot. I say, what? Who would take 8 Tylenols? Got to be Meshuggah, who knows what, Meshuggah, crazy. So I said, you know what? I wouldn't mind trying to the equivalent of 4 Tylenols, just to get the idea, and then we're going to go back to the meeting. So he says, you sure? I say, yeah. What's the problem? So I take that hit, and right then and there, I fell into a space a euphoric space that I really looked down at Joseph Grossman. I looked down at myself. I went into a space that I've never, ever, ever experienced. Now, what really happened was I was in a space that I could use that out-of-body experience. If everything is in life is molly jolly and it's all good, then it's just an experience. This was out of my pain. And that's when it got me right away. So we were there, and I asked him right then and there, how much is a piece like this? He goes, $320. How long is it going to carry us? I asked him. He goes, 6 to 7 hours. No, 3 to 4 hours. I go, I have 3 to 4 hours to kill. And I stayed there for additional 7 hours, and either Tuesday or Wednesday, and it was a great experience. Friday, I call him up, and I'm looking for Paul. And I told Paul, I would like to come down. It's in Staten Island. I live we call it upstate, but Rockland County, Muncie. And I would like to experience that again. It was very interesting and very nice. He says, where are we going to do it? I say, I saw the apartment for rent in the same little corner Armstrong and Amboy. He says, you sure? You got to talk to my partner, Fred. I said, no problem. I call Fred. Fred, can I have the apartment? He says, yeah, $1,200 a month. I said, okay, I'll bring you $2,400. I had money because I sold my business. And I come on down, come into that apartment. There's nothing there. There's a, how do you call it, a pool table. That's all in the big room. And then we had 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, a kitchen. I said, we're going to do it here. He said, well, you have no bed, you have no couch, you have no... I said, no problem, we're going to go out. We're going to buy a blow-up mattress. Whatever, no problem, I have money. And so that's what we did. And now how far it went. I lived in, not upper class, but regular life. And I had a Ford Explorer. I saw someone throwing out in Staten Island, in the hood of all the hoods, a dirty couch. I said, Paul, we got a couch here. Dirty couch. Now, to me, I wouldn't even sit on it, but nothing existed anymore. I have where to sit. That's all that counts. And we grab this dirty couch, put it onto my roof, and we take it home. And then we get the blow-up mattress, and the rest is history. There I am. I stayed in that apartment for 11 months. 11 months. Just got out of life, missing in action, out. No kids, no family, no nothing. Once I turned my phone on. Once it was before Yom Kippur, and I called a couple of people to say whatever, I wish them a good holiday and blah, blah. That's it, 11 months. Then we moved to a different house and so on. Now here I am at my lowest of my low. I have no family. I don't even have interest in my family. Nothing exists. I am out. Life has stopped. And one day, I wake up in a hospital. I remember vividly I had this called overdose. I remember when I said, everybody be quiet, and I fell back on the bed. And Paulie grabbed me. Now I know. Paulie grabbed me, and he put me into the car. We all went into paranoia. And Paulie just threw me in front of the hospital at the entrance. Imagine here, at the entrance by the parking lot, just threw me on the floor and ran off. He was in paranoia. Who knows? And obviously someone found me there, took me in, and blah, blah. And what do you think happened? When they tell me, okay, Mr. Grossman, yeah, you can go home. You're fine. I went straight back. And then also another time that I remember, I went into heavy paranoia, and I see my father-in-law, which never happened, my father-in-law's car across the street. And I went into my, they're coming to get me. I get into my car and I run and I call the police department and I tell them they're all running after me. This is real. They're running after me. And okay, so where are you? I say, okay, now I'm on corner that. Now I tried to trick all these guys and I made a U-turn and then I went back and I was, and okay, now I'm on this street and now I'm on that street, until finally I hid behind the gas station. I tell the police officer, okay, and they come with guns to me. Well, finally, I'm parked somewhere, like, I don't know, a couple of cars, and they're coming closer, and right away we think so fast. Took out my pills that I was prescribed, and I just left it there. It was like in the front, and he asked me, so what do you want us to do? What do you want from us? I said, all I want is for you to take me into the police department. Let me just be there for a little while, and they'll all get away, and then I'll go out. And I remember I was like so high, and they probably figured out he probably took one too many. They saw Joseph Grossman on it. So who would even imagine that we're talking crack cocaine on a Hasidic guy? I mean, it was beyond their imagination. And we're going back 21 years. There I am in the police department in fear that I'll talk. So I asked them for water, and I kept the water in my mouth all the time. I know for sure I'm not talking. And I see them looking at me, but I'm sitting there. We're talking, telephones, and I'm just sitting here in front of them. And what do you think happened? I just walk out, all good, calm down, back to Paulie. What a journey. In and out, in and out. And then I had my toughest overdose, and that was a mix of crack cocaine and heroin together, and I was shooting. And this is called a speedball. This is the wildest of the wild. And I end up waking up in Bergen Regional Medical Center. Now, it happened in Staten Island, if anybody knows the map, all the way down in New York, the lowest point, almost, Staten Island. And I end up at exit 165, up north, New Jersey, the last exit almost, in Bergen Regional Medical Center. I have no idea, and I wake up Saturday afternoon, and here I am. And I say, what happened? So I call Paulie. Paulie says, Yossi, it never happened. I said, what do you mean? How did I end up from there? How many hospitals you had in the middle? I mean, why here? Yossi, it never happened. So it's like he never, to this very day, we are in contact. And to this very day, Yossi, never happened. So I have no idea what happened all this way up. And then I was introduced to the villa. After a while, I call one of my friends that I call him my rabbi. He saved my life. And I call him, I am done. I am just done. I don't know where to go. I want to talk to someone that has knowledge in addiction. Now, I'm not talking about addiction. It's the point that this is my lowest point. And he says, no problem. Where are you? He says, I'm going to send you we still have time? How much time do I have? Enough? That's it? Oh my God. So here we are. So here I am in rehab. Day number 10. Finally, I showed up there. Day number 10, I came in on a Thursday. Day number 10, I ran out. I said, I'm done. I called my second son and I told him I am done because I was already in a couple of detoxes, 4 or 5 detoxes, in and out, in and out. And then in one hospital, they advised me to go to a rehab. So, and remember, that's not me. It's for losers. Finally, I said, okay, I'm going to try it on. Day number 10, I ran out. I called my son. I said, I'm done. Please come and pick me up. He says to me these words, Dad, I have no father and I have no mother. I have one thing. I have hope. I have hope. And that hope, you have no rights to take away from me. That's all I have. I have hope that maybe one day I'll get my father back. And you have no right to take that away. And that's where my journey started. Because until then, I was just a being. And I did it all. Here we are. I did it all. I went through the program. I was in program. But I didn't live the program. I was just there. I was a being. So day number 10, I run out and I say, please, I'm done. Please pick me up. And he said the hope. And he anchored me. And Carol, she saved my life. And she said, Joe, as long as you're still here. So I call my dealer and come and pick me up. They would come with a red carpet all the way from Staten Island, all the way upstate, Cahunks in New York. Where the hell, we used to have a shirt, where the hell is Cahunks in New York? So I came back there. She offered me for the night, whatever you want. All I want is a phone. I just want to talk to people. And I made 8 phone calls. And my son was the last phone call. And it was like 1 o'clock at night. No one picked up. And I've realized then that I have nothing. No trust, nothing. And I was a big player. I spent almost $1 million in cash just for crack. Daily basis, between $700 to $2,000 on a day. And it was okay. I never felt what I'm missing. So I came in day number 11 and Father Jack is there. And now me, Hasidic Jew, I haven't spoken until then. I wasn't so proper in English. And I sit there down there and I finally get up and Joseph is getting up. Joseph is talking. And I got up and I said, Father Jack, if there is a God, he kept on selling God. And if there is a God, I have a lot of questions. He says, okay, Joe. I say, if there is a God, how did I lose 4 brothers in my life? These kids, don't even know how to say the word sin. My little son had cancer, fighting cancer. Why? Twice I gave him a bone marrow transplant. Why? Where is God? He goes, That's all. And I say, if there is a God, my mother, she had cancer. She was 54 years old. Where is God? That's all he responded. And now I get it. And then if there is a God, my father passed young. He was 58. How? Why? And I didn't get it until it flipped a coin. That's where my God is. At the lowest point, to value today what it means. And then when he said, your son had cancer, when he said that moment, now I got it. I put it together because I realized that moment that I got a gift that nobody could relate. To know what it means to value and cherish a child's life for another day. To value and cherish a child's life. So in my lowest part, where I thought is my lowest part, that's where I picked up to see the gifts that I do have. And that's when I was introduced, number one, to the idea of hope through something outside of me. Because until then, it was all about me. Why I am suffering, why I am going through. I am a survivor. I am doing well in business. The I was gone. That's it. And I gave in. And I just caved. And all I heard in my mind, day and night, was, So I've learned that faith and hope, don't have words. Where the idea of my faith, my something is in a space in my brain where there's hope. So what is hope? You never get to that place to say, I got the hope. I got it. Holding on to it. No. It is something imaginable or unimaginable beyond my knowledge that there's something there that pulls me to something better. I have hope. It's never something tangible. It's always there. And that's what I got from Father Jack. That he was Christian? Catholic? And that Catholic introduced me to my idea of what it means, my God, for today. And that's when I started to try it on. And I took day by day. I just heard, and I want to keep us a little smiling. I heard this guy, he said, I heard it last week. He says, his grandmother said, if anybody heard it, that's fine. Grandmother said that you always have only two things. You have two things to worry about. Either you're going to be healthy or you're going to be sick. If you're going to be healthy, then you got nothing to worry about. If you're going to be sick, you got two things to worry about. Whether you're going to get better or you're going to get worse. If you're going to get better, you got nothing to worry about. If you're going to get worse, you got two things to worry about. Whether you're going to die or you're going to live. If you're going to live, you got nothing to worry about. If you're going to die, you got two things to worry about. Whether you're going to hell, you're going to heaven. If you're going to go to heaven, you got nothing to worry about. If you're going to go to hell, you got two things to worry about. He goes original or extra crispy. So, and another one, this guy, goes to his friend. He says, listen, what happened to me? He says, I still have two little nice lines about faith after this one. So, listen what happened to me. He goes, this one is for you. So he goes, you know what happened? My son, he walked out on us and he became Catholic. Christian. You say, what? Shh. He says, listen what happened to me. My son also, he walked out on me and he became Christian or Catholic. So what are we going to do? They go to the rabbi. And they come to the rabbi and say, Rabbi, what are we going to do? He says, shh, that's what happened to me. My son also walked out on us and he also became Catholic. What are we going to do, Rabbi? He says, we're going to pray to God. Okay, we start praying to God. And God goes, listen, kids, listen what happened to me. He also became Catholic. Yeah. So, faith. You got it? You heard it already? But it's nice. So, to me, it's no difference today what you call and who we go through. Okay? Whether it's Muhammad, Allah, Jesus, or the God of my understanding. It is something that carries me and takes me away from my so-called pain, takes that so-called pain into something other that I have never imagined. What it means to have a powerful, valuable life. It took me, there is no such thing as so-called pain. There is no such thing. I got through the idea of faith and I got hope. I got structure. I can foresee a tomorrow because when I was being, I was just being. It didn't exist. There is no day. There is no night. It just is. So I got my focus back. I can value and appreciate just today because I can foresee a possibility of a tomorrow. So it's no difference who we go through and what type of so-called religion. It's all in language. Yeah. But in the end of the day, even in Mass, I remember Father Jack used to say, God comes through us. Jesus said, God comes through me. That means there's always someone or something, a higher power above us. And I figured out, I hope it's true, that the reason we go with this, or even at Mass, always the leader, whether it's the priest or it's the Jewish rabbi, whoever it is, wherever it is, we always have at prayers, the leader has something, a hat on. It's just to show, it's my interpretation, that there's always something above us. This is what represents to me. So what faith gave me is, it took me away from the idea of fear. Took me away of the idea, I've got to realize that if not for fear, I wouldn't be alive. I would walk into the street. Fear gave me structure in a way that I am unstoppable because I know it's something that is so far from me that I don't even know. So I walk into a space of emptiness, and only in that space I have an opportunity to learn, or else I know. So once I rely on something other, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, you know what 3 minutes is? 180 seconds, 3 minutes. So again, I hope that someone would relate to the idea of the freedom. I am a guy, yes, we will have so-called problems and so-called issues, but once you have someone or something other carrying me, and it's not about me because I can't walk it, because this is all I know. I want to finish off, for those that didn't hear me, my mother's line before she passed, the night before she passed, and she suffered. And it's a powerful line. And my mother, she came along like I was. And she didn't even come. She was a real modern Jewish family. Came from Antwerp, Belgium. And they were kids in the war. My father was in Hungary. And they met together. They offered them a house in London. So they got married. And my mother just came along with the program. She didn't live God. She wasn't that. And before she passed, the night before she passed, she said to me, listen, Joe, if I would even imagine in my imagination how close this would bring me, she called it Hashem, the idea of God, I would ask for it. And I'm going to say this again. If I would even imagine in my imagination how close this pain and this journey brought me to Hashem, I would ask for it. So I've learned through that message how powerful we are if we are in a space that we have no imagination even. That's how powerful we are. But we got to let go of what we do know. So, because when she suffered, all she knew is this suffering. But then she stepped out into a space to say of the unknown beyond her imagination. That if this type of space that I've gotten to is way bigger than the small little itty bitty pain. That's the gift that I got, that I was introduced through Father Jack and through my lowest of my low. There is no more low. It just, the way it is, that's the way it is. It's not, it's meant to be, because once I put it into meant to be, then I think I know it. I got it. For me, I am in such an open space that I'm just a walking miracle. So maybe we be blessed with the idea of having something out of ourselves, other or something different than just in the way of being, that will carry us. And it's a shining light. If we can use the imagination, it's like a bird that flies. It's all above. It's like being in a plane. And all these little, we go up, and all these little problems, Manhattan, these big buildings, and we're way bigger than that. Let it be in a space that is beyond our imagination, that all these little itty bitty, call it shitty little things, is just get smaller and smaller, because we're in a much higher space. And that's what it means to me for today, being in a higher space through the idea of faith. I would put it in, for me, I don't know what religion is, but the idea of structure. We are accountable people. Those that go to church, a Sunday is a Sunday. We have feelings and emotions that are beyond our control. That's the love that gave me my life today. I am in contact with my kids, even though none of them are observant. I don't give a flying flip. It's way bigger. Thanks very much, Joseph. I appreciate and value that you, and honored that you gave me the opportunity.
Questions? Questions? He can go on
Oh,
now
hold on.
for another 10
Answers?
minutes. We stop for questions.
Forget about questions. Who has an answer?
Joey, thanks for pouring your heart out today. I even know you better now. So thank you for all the heartache. But the faith that's carried you today is amazing. And I'd like you to share how you live your faith today. What are you doing to give back for all the gifts that you got? What are you doing with your life today?
Perfect. Oh, thanks. Thanks for giving me a couple of minutes more here. So who I am today, through the idea of faith and hope, I offer life. I offer life. I offer what I did not have and I did not get. I kept on coming out from rehabs. I had no money, no friends, no family. No, obviously, I went back to Staten Island to my. Today, I am in a space that I'm so blessed. And on a daily basis, almost hourly basis, people call me. Those that have, there's probably 70% in the whole world, in the Jewish community, the Jewish world, 70% that know me, heard of me, helping people with addiction. Whether I get paid or not is irrelevant. That's really, I'm like an ambulance. And I am always, always available. I am available. I have placed by now, as clients, that means taking them on as a long-term, forever and ever being available. I'm up to 288 clients. Okay, that I'm involved on daily basis. I love what I do. I love life. And I remember I shared it this once, that I put deliberately Jewish people into non-Jewish programs, so that if they do go back to something, it's their choice. And when you choose it, it becomes powerful. Then it has meaning. So, but those that cannot afford, so I have a price, and the price is that when they go under the chuppah to their wedding, you know what a chuppah is probably? They have a chuppah, and either the priest or the rabbi or grandfathers, grandparents, it's a very, very honorable gift that they get a blessing under the chuppah when the couple gets married. And so I asked, the price is, you promise me one blessing under that chuppah. So I've had now in Israel my 88th, and I was stuck there in Iran. Today I am in a space that I travel around the world. I'm being called to pick up people I want to share a very fast one. I was in Hong Kong. I went India, Hong Kong, Qatar, US, just because it was a cheaper ticket. India, Hong Kong, I'm Jewish. So listen to this. I am in India, I am in Hong Kong, and I see a new set. I'm a collector, I'm a whiskey collector. I see a new set. Number one is 1 in 5,000, number 2 is 1 in 2,000, number 3 is 1 in 1,000. And I see this set, Dalmore, I have to buy it as a collector for my kids to sell. So I only see 2 out of the 3. I say, do you have the middle one? They say, well, we have it downstairs, but that's only for the people going out into Hong Kong. And you're in transit. So I get the 2. I said, I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to get the 3rd one. And there I am. And they say, you can't go. You're not going into Hong Kong. I said, I'll make a mistake and I'll go in and then I'll put it into my handbag and send it into the luggage and cargo. Amazing story. Well, you can't. You don't have a visa, blah, blah. I just walk out, confidence, and I get through. And now I'll go back to the airline and give them my dus with 2 bottles, and 1 I'll take with me or whatever. I'll find my way. All 3 bottles in the thing. And I walk out this airport, and I just went out to catch a cigarette. And I see this girl running to me with nothing, no bags, no nothing. And she says, are you Jewish? I say, yes. Well, obviously. So she said, listen, I came here with my friends 2 months ago. I came here with my friends, and then I got high. And they all left me. And I fell into this trap. I'm on the streets, in and out. And my life is in the airport. Whenever I want to feel safe, close to home, and stop using, I come to the airport. Sometimes I stay overnight, and then I go back. And then in and out, and I'm stuck here for almost 2 months. I said, listen, what do you want from me? She says, I just want to get home. I said, I can't take you home. Because for right now, this airport is your home. I can't take that away from you. But I can offer you an opportunity of life. And that life I could foresee in a program in New Jersey. Just 30 days. Give yourself that chance. If you're ready to do that, I'll do whatever it takes. You're on my plane. Because I'm a big flyer, so I am upper class. I never, ever, as a principal, sit in business class, even though they offer it to me. I'm the highest position in all of them. I'm a diamond in Delta, if anybody knows. I'm the cream of the crop. So, but I've never sat, once in my life, I sat in a business class when they offered it to me. Oh, we're almost done. So I say, okay, I'm ready. If you are ready to change your life, because this is all I can offer. I can't take you off drugs. I can't give you your family. I can give you life. And she said, I'm ready. I took her into New Jersey. I brought her in. This is going back a couple of months. She's doing great. Imagine this. She is a pharmacist. Hello? Her drug of choice was painkillers. She is a pharmacist. That how far she can trust herself. To this very day, I offer life, and I love and cherish what I do and what I offer. And as long as I have the gift of life, I will do whatever it takes. I'm available 24/7. There is no such thing in my dictionary, the word no. I am unstoppable, and that's the power of my higher understanding. And that's what I got here through my lowest. Thank you.
Please. I'd like to thank Joseph on behalf of the Interfaith Committee. And I'd like to invite you all to Interfaith. If you don't already come to the meetings, we're the 4th Monday of the month in the game room at 10:30 in the morning till 12. We don't always go till 12 though. Also, just to let you know that next month's speaker, you all know, because it's our very own Sue Kuzak. So Sue will be speaking, topic will be forthcoming, and we look forward to that. In the meantime, Joseph, thank you so much. You've touched so many, and we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.
Really my honor. I hope someone got something.